This is where the fun begins.
The Lord Be With You podcast show, also known as Christian Fandom Geek on YouTube, is a Red 5 show, also affiliated with Fandom Collective. So, enjoy the show, and the Force will be with you very soon on the Lord Be With You podcast show.
There's one. Set for stun.
So, we mentioned before AJ Styles now, because obviously this Christian Fandom Geek, we talk about all these different things, but we do look for Christian themes and Christian expressions in whatever we're talking about. And obviously, there's some interesting stories to do with wrestlers who are Christians or who are born again, sort of from the ones that have been public about their faith, sort of thing. And AJ Styles is certainly one of those guys who's an indie guy who's been across the world, New Japan, TNA, New Japan, and obviously he's a big mega WWE star, and he's very open about being a Christian, isn't it?
Yes, he is.
He's open about his Christian faith.
Yeah, it's just like a $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. He's actually a minister.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and he converted Shawn Michaels.
Oh wow! Because I knew Shawn Michaels was born again, but I didn't know it was Ted DiBiase that was involved in that. Wow.
Yeah. There are quite a few out there.
And obviously the late great Eddie Guerrero was a Christian as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was his anniversary of his death yesterday.
Oh man, I love with whenever Sasha Banks is wrestling, often she does a tribute to Eddie Guerrero, because she says that Eddie's one of the main reasons why she's a professional wrestler today.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, last night was the pay-per-view Full Gear with AEW, and Penta and Ray Phoenix from the Lucha Brothers. They actually did a very loving reference to Eddie Guerrero last night with doing the Three Amigos and the Frog Splash.
You know what? I honestly loved. Even before Eddie died and before that, I loved Eddie Guerrero. I thought the guy, because obviously, and we're going to talk about it here. At that time, you had Eddie Guerrero, you had Chris Benoit, and there's a few of the other ones as well that came across from WCW to WWE, and they were kind of
Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn. They all came over.
That's right. So you had those guys come across to WWE, and like, man, they were on fire. Like especially Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. They're the ones that really, from that group, they're the ones that kind of went to the next level. And Eddie was amazing. Eddie's routine that he did with Cheat to Win.
Yeah. Oh man, he was so innovative. I mean, one of the spots that I'll never forget is the whole pretending that he got hit and just fall on the floor just as the referee turns around.
Oh man, brilliant! And I think if I'm right, he got heavyweight champion, didn't he? At least once.
Yes, it was. I think it was actually WrestleMania 20. He actually won the title. Him and Benoit won it on the same night.
Oh wow, brilliant! This is classic. I love it, guys. This is the Lord Be With You podcast show, also known as Christian Fandom Geek on YouTube. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Like I say, I know some of you guys will come on this stream after the stream's ended. That's all good. Continue to enjoy it. Leave a comment if the stream's ended. Just leave a comment on there, and we will. Because I'm planning to get Omar back on again with Stephen Harper. If you leave any questions, I can then we can sort of address some of those in the stream. God's Geeks put a question here. I think he's gone now, actually, to be fair, but he's put a question out. This is a bit of a controversial one, Omar. So, but on this show, we do controversy, but we try to do it with grace, don't we?
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. We try to do it with grace. Now, God's Geeks said a bit about this. AEW caught my attention, but a few times I watched there was some, and he's gone about the LGBTQ. And he's put some other letters at the end of that. I don't know what's going to happen up there. So themes on there, and it turned him off. Okay, all right. This is a controversial one. Okay. Obviously, wrestling hasn't really. Obviously, I would imagine there's been gay wrestlers through the years. Of course, there would have been. I mean, there's no way there couldn't have been. But I think it's more a case of it just wouldn't have been publicized that they were gay, because it would have probably been seen in a negative light within the wrestling industry of how do you promote a certain sort of character to a demographic,
Yeah.
especially if they're coming across as a very macho, intimidating character, and then it might have been behind the scenes they're homosexual. How does that might not translate across well with their character? Do you think that was fair of how things probably were, Omar?
Well, it's quite an interesting one because I don't know if you follow the Dark Side of the Ring series.
No, I don't. Oh, hang on. Was that documentary?
Yeah, it's a documentary series. Every one of
Yeah,
them
I've heard of it. I have heard of it. I've heard of it. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, but they recently had one about Chris Canyon. I don't know if you remember Chris Canyon.
Oh, hang on. I remember the name. Hang on.
He was a WCW guy. He came over in the Invasion too.
When Vince bought them and Shane McMahon and Stephanie took over.
Yeah, but he came over to WWE at the time, but he was a WCW guy. But he actually was a gay wrestler, and he hid it for many years, and that really, really was damaging to his life. Unfortunately, he did end his life.
Wow, sad. That's super sad. That's super sad. And
but,
I seem to remember, Omar, correct me on this as well. When Chris Jericho was in WCW, wasn't he playing a homosexual character, or have I completely made that up?
I don't actually remember. I wasn't really following WCW back then.
I'm pretty sure they alluded to his. Oh, I'm pretty sure they alluded to his character. I don't know if they had directly said it, but they alluded his character at one point was quite effeminate in WCW. Yeah. Pretty effeminate. And then when they took him across to WWE, well, I can't remember if it was WWF back then or not. I think it changed over by then. They kind of changed it round a little bit, and he was just kind of a bit of a sort of punk rock sort of, sort of a bit sort of outlandish, but they didn't really
gimmick.
Yeah, but they didn't really focus on the sexuality side of it. Obviously,
you got the flip side of it though, which he had someone like Canyon who was actually gay, and there was trouble because of that. But then you do have you do have gimmicks like Dustin Rhodes had, which was Goldust, where
a straight guy playing
definitely playing up to the kind of non-heteronormative kind of stances.
Of course.
And that was played for, to kind of creep people out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
playing with the paradigm just to freak people out.
He was. I mean, there was definitely times I remember where he was trying to be quite effeminate to other wrestlers as a way of
I remember that. Totally remember that. And actually, it's really weird, but like as a character, it works, didn't it?
Yeah, but what I mean. So there was open, but it was open as kind of a I think somewhat of a negative thing. But like what you have,
it was
like with AEW is that it's not played in that way. It's more of an inclusive way because you have wrestlers like Sonny Kiss, who is played as with a more of an effeminate gimmick, but he's played as a baby face. You have Nyla Rose. You got Nyla Rose, who's the first openly transgendered female wrestler on a major promotion. And then you have someone like Anthony Bowens, who's he wrestles with his tag team, The Acclaimed. He has come out as gay, but with his character, that's not really played up as. So one of the things is I think what's kind of a positive thing with AEW, because it's a relatively new company. It's built around kind of more modern values where there's obviously some baggage when it comes to WWE from being running for so long.
Yeah, and obviously I get people. Look, listen, guys at home. Like, I'm not going to tell myself or Omar. We're not going to tell people how to think in that sort of way. For me, it's like each man to his own conviction. Like certainly like. We all interpret things differently. Omar, I know you're born again. You're a Christian. I'm born again. I'm a Christian. But I know we all approach things differently in terms of how Christian ethos. And I'm not going to be telling people about their own sexual ethics and things like that. That's between them and God.
Yeah, totally. That's completely how I live my life. But I just think it's good that there is representation. Personally, I just think it's good that there's representation. Just like how as a little black kid watching WCW Worldwide and seeing Ron Simmons power slam Big Van Vader to be the first African American champion. That struck a chord with me to see a black wrestler do that. So I'm sure that there are people in the LGBTQ community that get to see a wrestler that's a bit like them. That's a positive thing for them.
That will represent, that will, because it comes under the banner of everyone needs a hero, doesn't it? It comes under that banner. Whether you like that, whether you subscribe to that or like it, that's okay. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. No one's going to tell you what to like or not to like.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, after 10 minutes, that match is over, and then be someone that you do like.
It's true, so true. It's so true, isn't it? That's what I mean. Like, there's always other wrestlers on the card that you like or and dislike for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant, man. Man, it's good. You know what, Omar? We were going to switch to Anchor for the next part. We maybe just continue. We're cooking with gas. Let's just continue on here.
yeah, that's cool.